Now, we're about to break down our NFL mailbag. If you did not get your question answered, or if you weren't able to watch the show live, you can always DM me on Twitter or X or whatever the hell we're calling it these days. It's at WhatGoingDowney. My DMs are open. More questions are better because sometimes it's just filled with, I call them Lincoln bio bots, and you know what they're selling in their bio. So hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. First up from Joey Tana. I think I got that correct, Joey. If not, I'm terribly sorry. Vikings record prediction for this year. 7 wins. I think this is still might be a little high. I think this is going to be a retooling year for Minnesota. They're not going to force J.J. McCarthy into the lineup. They'll be patient. I think they'll be a solid football team. I think they're well coached. They have some good pieces. I also think the division has the Bears, who I think are going to be better this year, like from what they were last year. The Lions, who almost made it to the Super Bowl, and the Packers, who won playoff games too. I think that NFC North is very challenging and might potentially put the Vikings in a position where they're probably going to be a little bit better than their record suggests, and they'll have to just kind of stomach that for a year, knowing that the future does still look pretty darn bright. From Roy Williams, as I will once again ask the safety or the wide receiver, says Jerry and Stephen Jones are more concerned about ticket sales than paying our star wide receiver. I don't understand why they don't like to reset the market. So first off, yeah, I agree. The Cowboys were more excited to tell everyone at their opening press conference, hey, we sold out record ticket sales, which, by the way, they only did because it automatically renewed if you bought playoff tickets or accepted your playoff tickets, which everyone did. It was kind of deceptive. It was a bait and switch almost. It's like, yes, of course they did. They set the record because they changed when it started. It's like, hey, I set the 100-meter dash record. Yeah, but you started halfway down the line. Of course you did. It's cheating, right? As for resetting the market, there's 2 reasons. One, they're cheap. We have to acknowledge it. The Cowboys don't like spending money. Number 2, and this is a big part, they don't think they have to. They still believe they are special. They are America's team. And in the words of Steven, all the things that go along with being a Cowboy means you should take less. Well, guess what? It's not how NFL teams operate anymore, or NFL players operate. Because you ain't won anything in almost 30 years. That is a big difference. From Stephen Jones, I do think there are Stephen Jones burner accounts out there. Says this is not a Cowboys, he's asking about the Raiders, I guess. If the Raiders struggle again, will they trade Davante Adams at the deadline? I think it depends on what their long-term plans are. Adams faces a pivot, and the Raiders do as well. A decision must be made this offseason. Are they going to extend him, redo his contract, or move on? Because there's no more guaranteed money. There's a big, big, big base salary. You're not going to just carry the giant base salary and not lower it if you're going to keep him long-term. So I think they'll have to make a decision. Now, my guess, the Raiders could be involved in getting a splashy quarterback, and they'll probably have a young QB or a talented receiver to benefit that young QB. So unless Adams forces his way out, I think there's a chance they just extend him and have him, lead and help develop a young QB. So will Davante Adams be on the Raiders in 2025? This is today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know why or N. Corey Childs, are the Texans a AFC Championship type of team? I think they have the ability to. Now, I think we might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves to an extent about Houston. I think there's a lot of things to be excited about for them. Immensely talented young QB. I think they're really well coached. The defense looks solid. I also don't want to put too much stock into blowing out a Browns team that was starting Joe Flacco at QB. And Flacco was a fun story. He wasn't actually that great last year. So I think there is still a gap to close, when you lose by 24 against Baltimore. I think the Bengals should be back to better form if Burrow's healthy. The Chiefs are an automatic squad in there. I think that second AFC team, assuming KC is one, is up for grabs. There's probably multiple teams that fit that mold, but I'm also not just going to put them in pen. That makes sense. But I think they should win the division again this year. Steve H., who is the first backup quarterback traded when we get a starting QB injury? Ooh, it's a good question. I think it might depend on who wins jobs elsewhere. Like, I don't know how quickly the Patriots are going to make Drake May their starter, but that would certainly stand out to me. Like, because you could move Jacoby Brissett, and I think he'd pick up the offense pretty quickly. I think he'd be impactful. I think he could be a top somewhere 32 QB in the NFL. Now, it's probably a lower end top 32 QB, but that stands out. I also don't know how many other teams have interest. Like, does Drew Lock move the needle for you? If Aiden O'Connell wins, does Gardner Minshew drastically move the needle, although it might be Minshew who wins that job anyway? Does Tyler Huntley move the needle for anything? Pro Bowler jokes aside. Mariota? Shoot, the best option might just be to sign Ryan Tannehill. Now, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time is the place for last-minute tickets to your next big event. That could be concerts. That could be a comedy show. Could be the theater for my wife, as an example. Or baseball games. Got at least a few more weeks, maybe maybe multiple weeks if they get into postseason play for your team. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Always keep an eye out for the zone deals, or the flash deals, by the way. Zone deals, you pick the section. Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings in the process. Game Time is the best ticketing app out there. I cannot advise any other one. Simply use Game Time. It's the best. It's the best ticketing app that is out there. So download it today over at GameTime.co. Create your account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed. Kyle C., underrated rookie picks for this year. Ooh, okay. Now, I don't know if this is a fantasy-focused question or like what rookie impact players are maybe sliding under the radar a little bit. I'll mention one in particular. I think that Raiders backup running back Dylan Laub could have a nice little impact as a third down back in Vegas. I think it's going to be a heavily early down featured back for Zamir White, but third down pass catcher, maybe Dylan Laub could be that player. There's only going to be so many touches to go around in Philadelphia, by the way. Johnny Wilson looks nice so far in camp. Chris Fallen? I don't know how to pronounce it, Chris. I'm sorry. What happened, even though I probably shouldn't have so many issues with that. What happened to the Tee Higgins trade? Simple. There was honestly just never going to be one. That's not how the Bengals do business. They don't like trading players. They don't like trades, period. And I can count on one hand the trades that team has made in like the last decade or so. Like, they just don't make trades. And unless they were going to get blown away by an offer for Higgins, that they still love him. They just don't want to pay the guaranteed money involved there. Plus, the receiver market has gotten so far out of hand for them. They're not interested because they got to pay Chase too. They'd rather pay him for a franchise tag year and actually try to win now. They were never going to give him up for pennies. So name a player, not Tee Higgins, who you think ends up being traded. Drop that player name for me in the comments section of today's show. From Rick's 2, where will David Bahktiari sign? Great question. He might be someone who waits a little bit longer. I know that he says he's healthy. I have my doubts that it is going to be a instance like this. I don't know if he's fully healthy. I think teams want to check that out there. Bahktiari, most importantly, has said he wants to be a key piece. He wants to be a starter, not just the vet mentor guy. At his age, he's probably not going to go play right tackle. So that really cuts down the options It really mitigates how many places you can go in that scenario. So he might be waiting for an injury somewhere. Panthers fans, if Jordan, he means Addison, it's probably just a weird speech text thing, gets suspended for 3 games the whole season, should Minnesota go after John Metchie? It's not a bad idea. Houston has too many bodies at wide receiver. Someone's got to be on the move. Maybe Robert Woods could be an option there too. I don't think it's going to be a full season suspension. It sounds like Jalen Naylor showcased some nice things for Minnesota too. So I would not assume you see a big splashy trade by the Vikings. For year-round NFL coverage, you guys have come to the right spot. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. From Rex Morgan, the dynamic kickoff sucks. Bring back the old one. I want random onside kicks too. This new rule is stupid. So I would be down with more random onside kicks. I'd like to have that back in the fold. It would be fun. However, I don't know if we've actually seen enough of the nuance of the new kick. Like they fell. The turf was wet and slippery in the Hall of Fame game. So let's give it another week at least, or even in the regular season, see how the starters look. I am going to have more kick returns, period, which I actually think is a good thing. I know it looks a little bit weird, but I'd rather have the chances for more plays than the chance for commercial, kickoff for a touchback, commercial. I don't want that. From Bob Smith, will Dallas trade Trey Lance if he doesn't win the quarterback 2 job? You could try, but I doubt it. Because here's the thing. If Trey Lance can't beat out Cooper Rush, who wants him then? Who wants the 3rd-string QB who not only could not beat out Brock Purdy, couldn't beat out Cooper Rush? If he's not good enough to do that, who's going to want him? And pay him $5 million, by the way, in the process as well. Now, recent memory only. So it's got to be after Jamarcus Russell is our timeline there. Biggest bust in recent NFL draft history. Every person in the Niners organization probably saved their jobs by Brock Purdy being so good, because it would have been a disaster as it relates to the that front office missing on the Trey Lance trade. From Omar's Burner, are you happy Aiyuk's going to the Steelers and that eliminates Lamb Pittsburgh? Cowboys were never trading CeeDee Lamb. Now, they're still, as of filming, haggling over the differences in the contract, I believe. Maybe it'll change post-filming. But Lamb was never going to be traded. That was just a fun pipe dream for some fan bases, such as yours, Omar's Burner. Kyle C. Does Brandon Aiyuk ultimately get moved, and if so, to what team? Again, we're filming this on Tuesday. We'll see if it comes out we look smart or dumb or whatever. I think he does get moved, and I will believe Pretty Ricky, and that it'll be the Steelers over the Browns, Patriots, etc. But we shall wait and see on that front.